Hey, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy DM Prep. This is a weekly show shot 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Times on Twitch, in which I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for today's D&D game. Today's game is the hardcover adventure Rime of the Frostmaiden. So I'm deep into Chapter 1 currently and moving onwards. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. If you would like to be a patron of Sly Flourish, please go to patreon.com/slyflourish and sign up. Patrons get access to all kinds of exclusive content, but most importantly, they help support shows like this. So if you would like to see more stuff like this, if you want to help support the show and the website and all the other work I do, you can do so by going to patreon.com/slyflourish. So yeah, boy, fun game last week. I love it when you just have no idea where things are going to go. And when you have things set up and you get started and you're in the groove and you have this ability to really improvise, right? While things are changing, characters are doing things, conversations are going one direction or the other, interesting things are going to happen, and you just sort of improv them, and they build and build and build, and more things go. And I had if you had told me at the beginning of when I was prepping last week what was going to happen, never would have guessed. And so let me tell you what happened, because it's pretty great. Let me tell you about my game, because who doesn't want to hear about other people's RPGs? So the characters began in Targos, in the inn in Targos. I forgot that I used that image there. That's a pretty cool image. They were at the Three Flags Sailing Tavern. This is last week's notes. And Nerith Maxalandar and Scath both showed up. Nerith Maxalandar is the town speaker for Targos and also an agent of the Zhentarim. And Scath is his right-hand guy. And they both came in and said, hey, I heard about you. I heard what's going on. How would you guys like to, I'd like to help you out. So they wanted to kind of recruit the characters to serve Targos under this idea that Targos says, like, Nerith is like, look, the other town speakers are not helping their towns and the towns are getting torn apart. I can help. And if you're willing to help me get better control of the other towns, then we'll be in a better spot. And of course the characters are immediately suspicious of him. And then they start to say, like, well, what about, who do you have the children of Oral here? We're worried that the children of Oral are murdering people. And he says, yeah, we have someone here. There's a woman here who runs an orphanage. She actually runs real children of Oral. Her name is Mother Nora. We call her Mother Midnight, Mother Nora Icehand. And she runs a local orphanage called the Children, right? And so the children of Oral in Targos are actually children. And the character's like, well, you need to get rid of her, right? Like we just fought a bunch of them in Bryn Shander, and trust me, they're not good people. They are worshippers of demons and slayers. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, we need to go to my place. We need to go to I have a joint here. Let's go to the speaker's house and we'll talk there in private. And so they start walking there, and the characters realize they're being followed by other people. And they're like, uh-oh, we're going to get jumped. Like, we know he's working with his interim. I bet these other guys, we're going to get jumped in the middle of this town. And they were like, no, we're actually just keeping an eye on you. But they were very suspicious. So three of the characters kind of peeled off and rolled stealth checks and disappeared, which means their spotters now had no idea where they were. And they, so there was a lot of like cagey stuff going on. And while this happened, Ilda's mother shows up, right? And so Ilda's mother and father are members of the cult of Oral in Bryn Shander. They separated themselves from it as soon as they saw that the cult went bad. They were like, oh, we're not with them. We don't know. We own that building, but like, we're not responsible for people that hang out there. And she said, her actual name is Jacqueline. She hates being referred to as Jacqueline. Her parents are Aemon and Laenania, also known as Lena Maliciant. And so Lena went to her and said, I need to talk to you. And last time they spoke, and in this book, there was this prophecy that basically that Ilda is a child of Oral, or really a child of Thrune, right? That she's blessed by Thrune, and that Lena became, pregnant with her, through Thrune, right? Miraculously, right? And So Lena came up and said, I need to talk to you. And, your father, I know your father's been a terrible guy and he's done terrible things. I just want you to understand, you, no matter what you do, you have my support. And I need you to understand that, you need to understand your father thinks that you're a miraculous conception from Thrun, or from, this being. No, I fell in love with a Goliath, and the Goliath's name is, Aachen. And Ilda's like, I don't want to hear any more. Like, I don't want to know anything. Stop talking, Mom. And and thinking, oh my God, this guy I'm adventuring with is my dad. Well, no, it's actually Aachen's father who's missing. It was also named Aachen and is Ilda's father. So they are half, Aachen and Ilda are half siblings. But her reaction of just like, stop talking, like, I don't want to hear any more of this, and you're crazy, and I'll have you killed, right? Like, trust me, your power here is ending, and I'll have you killed. And then she went back to her family, and Alka's like, hey, and she's like, hey. So, and I checked in. One thing I did is I checked in with the player to be like, is this cool? Are we cool with, I don't want to change your character's background, and I don't want to do anything. She's like, no, this is great. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I just want to make sure that we're, like, I don't want to change a character's background so much that they're not that they went away from what they wanted for their character, right? And I've been doing a lot with Hilda's parents. So at first I was leaning too heavily on the idea that she is a child of Thrun, that she is this like divine entity to an elder evil, and like, what does that mean, right? And then that clue kind of went out too strong. So then I said, I got to pull back from that and say maybe not, but maybe instead you're just a child, right? You're your father's not actually your father. Your actual father is this guy's father over here, so that there's like room in there for her to kind of choose who she wants to be. But still, you're doing a lot of dorking around with somebody's background, and you want to make sure. So I broke character and said, yeah, out of the game. I said, are we cool? And she said, yeah, we're cool. So great. So that was really fun. Then they went and they met with Nerith, and they explained that the cult of Oral are a bunch of demon worshippers actually worshiping a being called Thrun, and that probably this Mother Midnight that's here in your town is probably also worshiping demons, and you should get rid of her. And then he's like, well, I can't get rid of her, but you guys can get rid of her. And they're like, yeah. And they're like, well, why don't you plan evidence on her? And we've got this wineskin bag full of blue glowing demon blood. And he's like, really? It's like, let me see that. And he puts it in a glass, right? And so they pour out some of this blue glowing demon blood in a glass. And he's like, what? And Scath, who is feeding mice to his flying snakes over in the corner, looks at it, and he grabs one of the mice, and he just goes fling, and it goes ploop, and the mouse goes into the water, into this blue glowing demon, and it thrashes around, and it explodes outwards and churns into like an icy hellhound, and it breathes out this like freezing demon blood, bile. And they're like, ah, and everyone in the room is freaking out, and they're hacking it. And it was this perfect, like that scene from The Thing, right? Where like everything just goes wronger and wronger and wronger. And, it was that like everybody in the room freaking out, and they're in this guy's office, right? And this thing spewing frozen demon bile on people, and they're like, ah, and they're hitting it with swords, and they kill it, and Nerith looks over. It's like, Scath, you're fired. And Scath's like, oh, wait, before you're fired, I need you to go down there. And at that point, Nerith is like, holy cow, this is really demon blood. These really are things. If this has any connection at all to the spirit person in my town, we got to get rid of her. So here, take this demon blood with you. Find a reason. I want you to go there. I want you to pull her out, and I want you to hang her before anybody can. While the news of Bryn Shander's demon plague is getting here, we're going to direct all that to her, and we're going to get rid of it. So now is the time. Do it before anybody can start to protest. And so they're like, huh, okay. So then the characters like finish up their meal, and he says, hey, this just shows you how weak the speakers at the 10 towns are, and this is why I need to be taking over. And I need you to go talk to this other guy in Tourmaline who's not working with me, and get him to work with me. He's a weak guy. He's lost control of his own mind, and I need you to get him on my side or get rid of him or whatever. And the characters are like, well, we'll look into that. We're worried about this murderer, right? There's another murderer who's still around. And he's like, okay, whatever. So they go outside, and Mother Midnight, who they'd never met, is hanging from a scaffold, right? And swinging back and forth. And all the townsfolk, half the townsfolk are like, what is going on? And then the other half is like, demons, right? And Scath, who's out there, is talking and giving this big speech about how Mother Midnight was worshiping demons, and here's the blood, and look at this. They brought the body of the crazy demented demon dog thing out, and they're like, look at that. That was what was caused by this. And they went down into the orphanage and they found that, yeah, she was pretty bad. She was pretty bad. And there was all this like oral stuff all over the walls. There wasn't a lot of Thrun stuff though. And there was nothing that was actually tying her to demon worship, but they're like, yeah, but she was bad anyway. So we don't care. So at that point they headed out of town and made their way to Tourmaline, where it's very cold. And they got rooms at the local inn, and they know that Torgs is there, and they're pretty confident that the murderer of 10 Towns is with Torgs. They don't know who it is, but they know it's there. And they're starting to figure out how to set this up. And they're coming to like we know that there's a woman here who defied the last sacrifice. She refused to put her fires out when everybody else is supposed to put their fires out. So they think like, I bet you that the murderer from Torgs is going to go after her tonight. So should we either talk to them ahead of time, or do we wait for them to show up and try to get rid of him? So we're going to see. And I think that's where, I forget what they decided last. I think they were heading towards, they were having a lot of trouble figuring out exactly what they wanted to do next. And I think they said, well, before the night comes, we can at least talk to the town speaker. So I think they're on their way to talk to the town speaker. And I think that's where we began. So, crazy fun game. And the thing with the demon dog was so much fun. This office and the mouse and the glass and the exploding demon dog. Oh, so great. Right. And no idea. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen. And the idea that they walked out of Targos with, after having a crazy demon dog summoned and having Mother Midnight hanging from a scaffold was crazy, right? And that's just the fun of it. It's just, you don't know where the game is going to go. That's why I love it so much. So let's get ready for today's game. So we're going to generate a new session planning template. As always, we are doing our notes today in Notion. Today is the 25th of April. Sunday, Frostmaiden. Our cast of characters today are Ilda. Ilda, we have talked about. She is a half Goliath, half elf. Her parents are the Maleficents, who are rich folks that live in Targos. She hates them. They are, her father thinks that she is some kind of divine entity tied to Oral and or Thrun. Her mother just wants her to be her own person. Kind of, probably not really. And Ilda's just trying to find her place in the world. She is a barbarian. Auken Dawncaller is a fighter from the Goliath tribes. Her father, he is, as far as we know, and some of they haven't talked about it yet, Auken and Ilda are half siblings. And he is a fighter and a member of one of the Goliath tribes in the area, the Wormdune Crag tribe. So that'll probably come out more in Chapter 2, not so much in Chapter 1. Shadowhawk is a drow being hunted by assassins from House Zalaran. There is those assassins are called the Knight's Kiss. We should add that. Drow sorcerer, former member of House Alarm, being hunted by the Knights. Whoops. By the Knight's Kiss assassins. Knight's Kiss are drow assassins hunting for him. Damia and Lorvarin. Damian Lorvin. And one is a mage. They're mages and veterans. How did you make a half Goliath, half elf character in D&D Beyond? I think it's just a Goliath, a straight Goliath. You do it the way you do all weird things in D&D, with flavor. If I can offer a tip, not everything needs to have mechanics. Right. You can also do custom origins now using Tasha's rules. So there are some ways to do mechanics, but in many ways you could just call yourself something and then it's fine. Right. You can customize magic items that way. You can customize monsters that way. Just reskin. And so you can take a regular Goliath. Well, let's actually take a look. Let's look at the character sheet, but I'm pretty sure she is just using a Goliath class or Goliath race. She is custom lineage. So she actually has a custom lineage background that she created. Let's take a look under abilities, features and traits. Barbarian features, racial traits, creature type. You are humanoid. She is medium sized. She has the toughness feat. And variable trait, she has dark vision. So I guess that's how racial traits work. So yeah, she is using the custom lineage. That's how she's doing it. Which seems pretty flexible and pretty good. I guess it's basically like you don't get a thing and instead you get a feat. Which I guess is okay. So she has the toughness feat, which means she just gets lots of extra hit points. Which as a barbarian means she's not going down because you take half damage too. It's like the equivalent of having 70-some hit points. So Ilda, so Shadowhawk, Gore Wen Alcazar is a merchant traveler who hates the Torg's merchant traveler and is more than happy to discredit them for his own benefit. He is a trickster rogue, or not trickster rogue. He is a cleric of the trickster god. He's always working angles. His thing is working angles, coming up with lots of Ponzi schemes. Perrin Fat Rabbit, also a custom lineage, is a ranger conspiracy theorist who has visions of having seen things. Oh, one thing about, Shadowhawk. So Shadowhawk had a griffin egg, and it wasn't a griffin egg. It opened, in this past session, it opened, and he woke up, and the cracked egg is open, and there's a slimy trail leading up to his bed. And he still has the power that he had when he was holding the egg. And now he can still detect thoughts. And the reality is he's got a mind flayer thingy in his head growing. So that's driving him crazy. It's driving the player crazy as much as the character. Conspiracy theory ranger Perrin Fat Rabbit. So Perrin actually has an idea, but how much Shadowhawk is telling other people is questionable. And then we have Candle in the Dark. Candle in the Dark is a rogue, Tabaxi rogue from Waterdeep, who is being hunted by assassins as well. Those assassins are Shakar Ballard, the Ebonheart, who looks like this guy. And he has a frontman, Gygas Greenhood, who dresses like that. That's his frontman. What are those things? Are those lockpicks? What are those things around his belt? They look like chicken feet. Weird. Oh, but he's got the eye, right? So Xanathar, he's wearing the Xanathar's eye. Perfect. How about that? So, yeah. So, oh God, I didn't mean to do that. I just created a new one. I don't want a new one. Delete. So those are the characters. So our strong start. So we're beginning in Tourmaline. It is probably, is it evening? It's probably evening. Evening in Tourmaline. The characters are on their way to see the town speaker. The town speaker here is a half-orc named Oris Mastu. Oarus. It could be time to meet. I think it might be fun to have them meet Gygas. Oh, hello there. And he's gonna try. What secrets? So, so Gygas Greenhood is there. And what is Gygas's goals? He wants to create dissension. So he's going to try to say that, like, you realize that you are harboring a murderer with Candle. And I don't think that's true, right? Really, so what is he trying to get? Right, he's just kind of trying to screw with them. I think so. Like when we think about what Gygas, who is Gygas? So Gygas is the front man for Shakar Ballard, the Ebonheart. The Ebonheart is an assassin, priest assassin who worships Cyric, and has come to 10 Towns to kill Candle and Candle's parents. Candle's parents are now inside the Candle's parents are now inside the Bryn Shander Community Center, which is what the characters had turned the House of the Triad into after killing all the cultists there. So I think it's more important. So what Gygas's goals, right? And his goals are to destabilize the party. You know you're protecting a murder from a family of murderers. We know where your parents are. What does he want? Like, so what is the Xanathar? This gets into like, what does the Xanathar want with Candle and Candle's parents? Is there something hidden? I might have to talk to the player a little bit. I wonder if I'll have a chance before the game to talk to the player a little bit about this. But it might be fun. Just tell us where it is. So it might be fun to have that, right? So the scenes are, we're going to have Gygas. We're going to have Oris. Meeting with Oris. A lot of meetings. Confrontation with Torgs. Maybe. Facing Cephek. And his icy ghouls. Saving Blanche. And then A Beautiful Mind. So lots of stuff here, right? Lots of potential stuff. So I think it might be kind of cool if Candle... I need to talk to the player about it, but perhaps Candle and his parents took something from the Xanathar. Shakar has been tasked to retrieve the whereabouts of this mysterious item and kill Candle and his whole family. What other secrets do we have? Anything else for Shakar and Gygas? Any interesting things? I don't think so. So Oris, Oris refuses to sell Tourmaline out to Nerith. And the Zentrum. Half of Oris's guards are on the Zentrum payroll. One guard murdered another in Tourmaline, in the mine. After going into the mine to try to rout the kobolds. Oris's guards are apprehensive to go out to the mine to clear out the kobolds, fearing something worse is in there. That's pretty good. What about... Oh, Sefik the accountant for Torgs likes to go on long walks at night. He doesn't seem bothered by the cold. Every so often, people see strange sets of blue eyes piercing out of the woods around the Torgs encampment. What other interesting? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8. 2 more secrets I can drop in. What other interesting secrets could we have? There are multiple true children of Oral. Sefik is one. The druid Ravison is another. Whoops. Is Ilda the third? Who knows? Ravison has awakened many animals. With a goal of shattering the civilizations of 10 towns. She is one of 2 druids that used to live in the lands outside of 10 towns. What about the beautiful mine? Yeah, I mean, yeah. These secrets are good, but we're going to talk about beautiful mine. So, fantastic locations. We have Tourmaline, and we have the mine. We can link the mine to that quest. If we go back here, go to D&D Beyond. Let's see. And we are going to Beautiful Mine. So we'll grab this. Link that. So we've got our locations. We've got our secrets. We've got our scenes and our strong starts. Who are the people? So we have Torga from Torgs. We have Oris. We have Gygax. We have Blanche. Who else do we have? We have the beautiful mine, the kobold Trex, right? And I don't know if I have a Trex page yet, so we're going to create one. New Trex page in. in the Frostmaiden database. And we'll make a Trex page, and we'll make it an NPC villain, I guess. Is there a picture of Trex already? No, there's a picture of a Grell. There's Trex. Hey, we got a picture of Trex. Copy that image and drop it in. Whoops. How about image in new window? Copy image. Hopefully it's not too big. Yay, picture of Trex. Possessed kobold of the Tourmaline mine. Cool. Very well spoken for a kobold. Cool. Oh, there's so much cool stuff here with and then there's Janth, right? Possessed by Janth. Do I have a Janth page? I do. Cool. Janth is a ghost scholar who was killed. I think we're going to have Janth be a member of the Arcane Brotherhood who was looking for the secrets under the ice and died and wants to find it. So this is a change that we're making in the campaign. So let me finish my notes up here, and then we'll talk about the actual quest in Rime and the Frostmaiden instead of just my nonsense. So we've got Trex. Oh, and we need, what was his name? I already forgot his name. I'm an idiot. Trex. Janth. Janth. Monsters. Oh, we have icy ghouls. We have Sephic. We have kobolds. We have growls. We have ghosts. That's pretty much it for today. Treasure. We have a psi crystal. It would be nice if we had something else. Does Aachen have a magic item now? I think he might be due. He's got the Boots of the Winterlands. I had already given away a weapon booster, a glyph weapon booster, and now Candle has that. So he's got Boots of the Winterlands. He's got something, but he certainly wants a magic weapon. I think Sephic has to have something, right? He had a lot of stuff he wanted. Cloaks. Everyone loves cloaks of protection. What's a cool magic item that Sephic could have on him? So he's got icy daggers. He's got icy blows. So he could certainly have a magic dagger, magic icy dagger. That would be cool. A Frostbrand dagger. What about a Frostbrand? I think Frostbrands are really good. What does it do? When you hit an attack, it does a d6 cold. In addition, while you hold the sword, you have resistance to fire damage. In freezing temperatures, the blade sheds light. When you draw this weapon, you extinguish all non-magical flame within 30 feet. The property can be used no more than once per hour. So he could have a Frostbrand longsword. That would be pretty great, but who would use that? Probably not many people. It could be a, if we're giving everybody like weapon boosts, a rune that could be etched onto a weapon to turn a weapon into a frost brand would be pretty great. Extra D6 cold is really powerful though. It's a very rare, right? So it's intended to be really powerful. So that's probably too much. But it makes sense. Some kind of weapon booster would be cool, like so the tattoo. Let's take a look at the tattoos. I think is it. I was just bagging on. Bagging on Tasha's. But let's look at magic tattoos. Absorbing, cold absorption, alchemical, all-purpose tool. Are these the only? These are all the magic items. Okay. Barrier tattoo. +12 dex for the uncommon one. That might be kind of cool. Ice melts into the weapon if desired. That'd be kind of cool. Thanks for the guides. Glad the guides helped out. Thank you for coming by, and I'm glad they helped. I've gotten a lot of value out of those Horde of the Dragon Queen articles I wrote a long time ago. So barrier would be interesting. We've had some Blood Fury. Tattoo has 10 charges, regains all. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, expend a charge, deal 46 necrotic, and it has 10 charges that recharges the next dawn. What? Legendary. Okay. I was like, 46 necrotic? Coiling Grasp. Uncommon. Inky Tendrils. That's pretty cool. I don't think I'm going to drop that in here, but that's one to keep in mind for later. When does it get used? If you while the tattoo is on your skin, as an action, you can, as an action, cause the tattoo reach the creature 6-14. It takes 3d6. As an action, the creature can escape. The grapple also ends. Is this all the time? Can you do this? I'm missing something on this coiling grasp. Is there a limit on this, or can you do this all the time? Because it seems like this completely removes any other action you'd ever want to do, because you can just do this all the time. It looks like it's all the time. I don't see any limiter on this. Do you guys see a limiter on this? Is there a limiter on this? As an action, so all the time. Jesus, that doesn't seem right. Broken. I like to do like a 1 time per day on stuff like that. Ghost Step Tattoo. Ooh, this could be cool. 3 charges, all expended charges, regains all charges daily at dawn. As a bonus action, while the tattoo is on your skin, you can expend 1 of the tattoo's charges to become incorporeal to the end of your next turn. Okay, for the duration, you gain the following benefits. Resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks. Can't be grappled or restrained. You can move through creatures. That's kind of interesting. That'd be a fun one. This is a very rare tattoo, though. 3 charges seems like a lot. Illuminator. It's common. Life Well. Very rare. Resistance to necrotic. When you drop to 0, stuff happens. Masquerade Tattoo. Disguise Self. We have a lot of people that already have Disguise Self. There are a lot of magic items in here. I'll say that for it. Shadowfell Brand Tattoo. Rare. When you take damage, you can use your reaction to become insubstantial, having the damage you take. Then the reaction can't be used until the next sunset. See, that one's rare, and it's less powerful. Weird. Advantage on all stealth checks. Spell Rot Tattoo. Produced by a special needle, this magic tattoo contains a single spell up to 5th level, wrought on your skin by a magic needle. To use this tattoo, you must hold the needle against your skin and pick the command word. The needle turns into ink. The level of the spell of the tattoo, and then how often can you cast? The tattoo glows faintly while you cast the spell. Once the spell ends, the tattoo vanishes. So it's a one-shot spell. Interesting. Up to 5th level. That's kind of cool. Tasha's doesn't know how tattoos work. Yeah, that whole tattoos are removable. Like what? Weird. What are these? The teeth of Nevandar. These are artifacts. Yeah. I looked at those. Those are kind of cool. I don't know. I don't know what magic item to give away. They need some kind of armor. I guess Sephic could be wearing like magic armor. So maybe we'll do that. +1 leather. +1 studded leather. And let's give it a 1 per day ability. What's a cool one? We'll go to relics here. Detect magic. What is a cool like 1st to 3rd level sort of icy ability? Misty Step would be pretty cool. Like he's sort of bound to it. So I think that'd be pretty cool. So we'll go with that. +1 leather armor that casts Misty Step once a day. That's a nice set of armor. There's multiple characters that can wear leather armor. So I think that will be kind of valuable, right? It's cool. It's got a cool ability. Nice thing about leather armor's AC isn't terribly high, so it doesn't bump their AC up tremendously. It gives them a little bit more. It's like the equivalent of studded leather, right? But it's magic, and it lets you cast a spell, and they're never going to want to get rid of it. Here's a cool, meaningful thing for my character that also gives me some magical benefit. Yeah. All right. So I've got all that set. So let's talk about, let's take a little bit of time and talk about the actual adventure. So we go to D&D Beyond, Frostmaiden. What random generator are you using? I am using a relic generator. Flourish.com/relics. Here you go. And yeah, so let's talk about the beautiful mind quest. This is a fun quest. I've run this before, which is why I've been kind of like ripping through the description. So the idea here is a bunch of kobolds have taken over the local tourmaline mine in the town of Tourmaline, and guards have gone down, but they've been kind of routed out, right? So you go to the mine. The map of the mine is here. You get in. It's a multi-layer mine. It's like a 3-layer thing. It's got this huge shaft that goes way down deep into the Underdark. And there's a lot of fun paths they can go. And sort of layer 1, you're sort of getting harassed by kobolds, but there's some giant rats and other things. There's a shaft there's an elevator that you can take down to get to the lower areas. And the deal is there is a kobold here named Trex who has been possessed by a ghost. The ghost is of Janth, right? And in the adventure, Janth wants he's tied to some bag, right? Can't be laid to rest. Can only be laid to rest by destroying a satchel that's being held. Well, that's So in my version, Janth is being connected to this area because he knows there's something beneath the ice. We're getting this whole Netherese city thing, right? He knows there's something beneath the ice and he wants to see it, and he wants to go on. So maybe he can possess one of the characters and ride shotgun while they go, and then he could be a good source of information. So you have this really well-spoken kobold named Trex who has a set of wings that he is taped to his back. He's tied to his back. I keep hitting save. He's tied to his back. Meanwhile, there is one or more grells. In the adventure, there's only one grell, but as your characters get higher level, I like to put probably two grells. 3 is kind of out of hand, but 2 grells are pretty good. That are hunting kobolds. So like kobolds are disappearing, guards are disappearing. And there's this Grell lair, which is kind of where they show up. But I'm willing to have the Grell show up anywhere. Like the Grell can use that central line to kind of get wherever they want to get to. So that works really well. So yeah, the couple things I would change. Oh, and then the really interesting part, which I want to definitely reinforce, is there is a ancient fossilized skull of a mind flayer that has been uncovered. And it can whisper to the characters, and like basically I'm gonna I want to tie this to a larger plot that there is a mind flayer, what are their ships called, cephalopods, what's the name of a mind flayer spaceship? There's a mind flayer ship that crashed here, and they're reaching out and they are willing to remove Nautiloid. Yeah, there's a crashed Nautiloid here. They're willing to remove the Cenobite pod that is inside of Shadowhawk's brain, so he won't become a mind flayer, right? But there'll be a connection between the psi crystal and the brain, and they'll realize like, oh my God, Shadow is turning into a mind flayer, right? And the only way to save Shadow's life is to help the mind flayers get their ship back up again. And I'm thinking of adding in some Githyanki hunters who are like trying to figure out whether or not people have been possessed by the mind flayers here and whether or not they have to blow up the entire world. I think that might be a fun angle too, right? That like you have these Githyanki hunters out there, and the Githyanki are like, we followed a crashed Nautiloid ship here. We don't know where it is. We're looking for it. And if we find out that the mind flayers have advanced from here and that they're in people, we're going to destroy the whole world. Our Githyanki warships are going to come and blow up the entire planet, right? And now you got a whole new angle, like a big scale. So I think I'm going to throw that into chapter 2. I don't know, but I think this is a hint about it in chapter 1. And it's this whole fossilized skull and psi crystal thing. So I really like this adventure. I'm excited to run this part, and I think it's going to be a good time. The Beautiful Mind. So I recommend it. Give it a read and then change it how you want. You remember, you can always kind of change up the number of creatures and things like that, and it always works out. So I think we're all done today. I've got my notes. I know where things are going. I think we're all good. So I think we're going to call it a day. I want to thank everybody for hanging out in Twitch today. I hope you had a good time. And I will see you all again next week when we find out what happens. And then continue onwards in our Rime of the Frostmaiden game. So thank you very much. Have a great day. And get out there and play some D&D.